Hello, this is Swami Rama's translation and discussion of verse 2 of the 12 verses of Mandukya Upanishad on Om Mantra in his text that he entitled Enlightenment Without God. First is the verse. All this, whatsoever is seen here, there, and everywhere, is Brahman. This very self, Atman, is Brahman, the absolute reality. This Atman has four aspects. And Swami Rama's discussion. All that is Brahman, the supreme consciousness. The essential nature of the individual self, Atman, is Brahman, the universal self. I am that. That self is experienced on four levels, and so consciousness is considered to have four states. Three of the states are those experienced during waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, and the fourth is a state beyond. Consciousness experienced in the first three states is called Apara Brahman, and consciousness experienced in the fourth state is called Para Brahman. Vaishvanara, Tejasa, and Prajna are the states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and sleeping, and the fourth state is the supreme one called Turiya. The experience of waking merges into dreaming, dreaming merges into deep sleep, and ultimately deep sleep merges into Turiya. Thus, Turiya encompasses all the other states. In the Upanishads, Om is the representative name and symbol of Brahman. For the sake of sadhana, it is the designator of absolute reality, and by meditating upon it, one realizes the ultimate truth. Atman, the individual self, and Brahman, the universal self, are one and the same. When the student realizes that universal consciousness is all-pervading, then he also realizes that Atman and Brahman are not two separate identities with two different existences. He realizes that they are one, quote, thou art that. When the individual self realizes that it is essentially Brahman, it gets freedom from the bondage of the vehicle called the unconscious mind. For the sake of analysis, there are three parts. The mortal part, body, senses, breath, and conscious mind. The semi-immortal part, the unconscious mind and the individual self, Jivatman. And the immortal part, the self, Atman. After death, there still exists the unconscious mind, which is the storehouse of merits and demerits, feelings, thoughts, desires, and memories. The unconscious mind is used as a vehicle for the individual self, but when the individual self drops all attachments to the unconscious mind, the individual self establishes itself in its essential nature and realizes that its self is the self of all. Such a state of realization is called liberation, Turiya, the very origin of pure consciousness. The three states of consciousness other than Turiya are actually that which is experienced by the individual self on three levels. The realization of the oneness of Atman and Brahman removes ignorance or Maya, that which does not exist but seems to exist. Maya has no existence of its own, just as darkness has no existence. For lack of light, one experiences darkness, and for lack of knowledge, one remains ignorant. When an aspirant removes the veils of ignorance by being aware of the higher dimensions of consciousness, then he understands that the universe is a grand illusion and that reality is the fourth state, Turiya. When the light of knowledge dawns and the aspirant attains the fourth state, he realizes that the individual Atman and the universal Brahman are one and the same. But as long as the aspirant's mind experiences only three states of consciousness, he dwells in duality and cannot realize the oneness of Atman and Brahman. Uninterrupted meditation and constant contemplation lead the student to realize Turiya, that absolute reality which is self-existent. This scripture systematically explains three levels of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and sleeping. When the experiencer realizes that the dreaming reality is subtler than the waking reality, and that the sleeping reality is deeper than the dreaming reality, he then wants to comprehend collectively the experience of all three realities by attaining the absolute reality, the fourth state, Turiya. So, verse 2 of the 12. Next we'll do verse 3. Thank you for visiting and listening. And remember, Om is what it's all about. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Om Tat Sat.